Hello, welcome back to Mom and Pop Comics Talk. We're your comics parents, Wendy Chin-Tanner and
Tyler Chin-Tanner.
And we are back with a very special episode tonight, which is, as evidenced by our shirts, the Dead Legends, guys.
We're celebrating the release of Dead Legends 2, number 1, the first issue of the sequel, out both digitally and through our premiere editions, the single issue comics we put out that lead directly into the trade, which is coming out in October. We have the creators on here, James and Gavin.
We do.
Both of them. Yay! We've got Gavin Smith and James Maddox.
Popping in just in time.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us on this.
there
he is. Back. The day after the release of just came out this week of the premiere edition number 1. So
yay!
Congratulations
Happy
on
book
that.
birthday!
Thank you.
Yay! I even wore matching earrings. My whole ensemble is Dead Legends.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So you guys got to make some volume 2 shirts. So.
Yeah, that's right.
We do. Oh boy.
Yeah.
They're really nice quality for anyone who's into the merch.
They are. I'm shocked with how well they turned out. It's threadless, so I got a couple of them, and they're actually my favorite shirts that I wear because they're so comfy.
They're soft. They drape nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little promo for anyone who wants a Dead Legend. Are these still available somewhere?
Yes, on my Threadless account. So I think it's gavinpsmith.threadless.com. I could be wrong, but if you search Gavin P. Smith on Threadless, you should be able to find it.
Awesome. Get yourself a Dead Legend shirt and get the comic. So, thanks for joining us. We just wanted to get you on here to talk about you guys as creators, how you got working together, how you came up with Dead Legends.
How you came to A Wave Blue World, and just to celebrate you guys and the project.
Yeah, I mean, I met both of you separately before Dead Legends, so I knew you both. But I think Dead Legends was the first time I knew you guys were working together. But why did you start with how you got into just creating comics and being a professional before we get in there? Before we get to the Dead Legends, how you guys got started? Gavin, you want to start? You want to tell us your origin there?
My origin story?
Yeah.
Let's see. About 21, I figured out, I finally had a job where I could collect and buy comics again. And I found out through advertisements that the Joe Kubert School still existed, which I had seen those ads all the time as a kid, and I'd always wanted to go. And so I put together a portfolio, got accepted, moved out to Dover, New Jersey when I was 23, I think. And I turned 23 like a week into my first year at school. And then did the program, graduated, moved back home to Indianapolis, and I started putting together my first book, Human City, which is a book I started in Joe's class, and put together a 28-page book, self-published it, started taking it to conventions, which led to me working with Blue Juice Comics, doing the accelerators. And I worked with them for a number of years, as well as did some work for AT&T and some ghosting background work for a couple of buddies of mine. And not too long later, James and I started running into each other and
cool.
Decided to start working together. That's the abbreviated version.
All right. Well, let's get James's backstory and then we'll connect the dots, how they came together.
Yeah.
James, what drew you to comics?
Oh God, I don't know anymore. I just started writing a long time ago. A long time ago, I started writing prose novels and stuff like that. And then I tried out scripting and found it was pretty fantastic. And I got kind of introduced to the comics world by picking up like crime graphic novels, a few sci-fi things here and there, some like urban fantasy, but like I didn't get into the nitty gritty of comics until I started going to conventions. And the more people I met, the more work I got. The more work I got seemed to multiply into new opportunities. And I eventually Gavin and I crossed paths, and it's been sunshine and rainbows ever since.
Well, when I mentioned meeting you first, I think it was at a convention. You had your little mini comics and some things. One of them was Jen Hickman, right?
I think we met at New York.
Yeah.
Because I was like prowling around the floor and saw you, and I think I had heard of you before I had approached you, but somebody told me I should check out your stuff. So I sought you out and was not disappointed.
Yeah. And I was quite impressed by your mini comics that you had done. There was a sci-fi one. I'm forgetting what that one was, but I remember that was one of them. And then there was the horror one you did with Jen Hickman. So I was quite impressed for somebody just swinging by the table most of the time when they're like, want to look at my comic or things like that. You don't know what you expect, but it was like, oh, okay, this is some good stuff working with some good artists. So definitely, stuck in my mind when I saw you working with Gavin, who I have to say I have a copy of Human City. I don't know if you sent it to me or I got it from your convention or something like that.
Must have been. I feel like we knew each other
from school. Yeah,
I think because did you come in?
We didn't overlap at all.
Right, but I feel like you came in like for an end of the year portfolio review to look at third years.
That sounds about right. I remember your class well. I might have started the scholarship by then because I think I just missed Anthony's year because I remember we joke all the time when I go there for the ceremony that like, oh, he missed out. I could have been.
Yeah, I think our graduating year you started the scholarship,
and that's why I did.
So we weren't eligible because we were already on the way out the door.
Right, but I reviewed your guys' portfolio and.
Right. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. There's a few of you. I remember you probably. I think you were friends with those guys, Anthony and
yeah, it was me. Anthony was in my class. Who now runs the school. Craig Cermak was in my class. Carly Ide. Who else? Alec Morgan has been doing a lot of stuff. Orion, who's Joe's grandson. I'm trying to think who else is in our class.
Yeah, but it was a good class.
Nick Justice.
Right, yeah, who works?
Yeah,
does some.
And Sean Mandrake, and who colors?
Oh right,
yeah. Tom. Yeah.
Was that the year you brought Maddie?
Probably.
Yeah.
Do you remember I brought
Maddie? 2011 when I graduated.
2011, so she would have only been 4. I did bring her pretty young.
You brought her once when she was like really, really small, and you let her eat like 3 brownies. Yeah, and she was like crazy. Yeah, it was like high as a kite.
So I think that was that year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I knew you guys both, and then all of a sudden I saw that the two of you were working together on this really cool project, Dead Legends, and I don't know. Tell me how you started working together, the topic, how you chose to do this thing,
Gavin and I wanted to work together for a long time. We just couldn't make the pieces fit.
We kind of had a weird opportunity where we were working with this other creator on a couple different things, and we were hoping for him to use to basically bring us up. He was at a higher level than we were at the time, and it was like, oh, you have these connections, like, and you want to work with us, like, cool, this is great for us. And then like nothing really happened with it, and so we were just like, let's work together. And we finally found a free moment, and we
talked over the project. Like I was pretty open in terms of subject matter.
Yeah, we were at a convention in Louisville, and he came to my room while I was working on commissions, and then he asked me like what I wanted to work on, and I said I definitely wanted to do a martial arts book, And I had a couple ideas. I think I had the idea for Blind Tiger, and James says I had the idea for Red Death, but I don't
I
remember
could
it
have
that way.
sworn, dude. Like, I thought. I
This
mean,
is-
whatever.
It's funny because like this can be the evidence, and you know, if things ever go sour and there's the legal battle, neither of us get Red Death because neither one of us are taking credit.
That happens sometimes. I remember writing like just like a name in a script, and like the artist will like come up with something, and I'll be like, "That's amazing! How'd you come up with that?" He's like, "You it was in the script." I'm like, "Yeah, that was just words, though." Like,
it's funny because like I thought Red Death was something that we came up with after we had come up with Yan, or maybe we had combined Yan and Red Death, and then I think we figured out it made more sense to split them up and make them different characters.
I say, yeah, that makes sense.
But
I mean, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, right. but I definitely remember having Blind Tiger like in my hip pocket. Like I was like, I'm saving this character for something. I didn't know what yet. James came up with Damon. I'll give him that.
Loved it.
Yeah, Damon was great.
Was Blind Tiger like? Were you thinking he was more of the featured character and then became bad, or did you always think he'd be the?
I think I always wanted him to be the bad guy.
Yeah, he was always kind of the heel.
The heel. I'd come up with him just kind of on the fly. Like I think I was just watching a movie, and I saw something, and then the name Blind Tiger just kind of popped in my head, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool name for a character," and I just kind of put that aside for later.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got to work on your martial arts book together.
Yeah, I can't believe I tricked him. I think the first time, there was we had started putting it together, and we'd come up with the pitch, the first 8 pages, which was a fight scene in the streets of Blind Tiger getting into a fight with Yan's spoilers, now deceased husband.
Well, it's issue 1 of the first series. So.
Yeah.
Sorry if you haven't
you're
gone
this
that
far behind. But that was the first 8-9 pages we had drawn for it, or I had drawn, and we'd come up with. But we were coming to Heroes Con, and I was going to Heroes was on my way to Heroes was on going to his house was halfway between Heroes and I brought over like a bunch of martial arts movies, and like the night before we drove into Heroes, like we sat around and just watched movies. I'm like, I'm stealing that and stealing that. We're taking this, we're flipping that around, and and then we did it on the way back from Heroes that year too. Like I stayed the next night. We did.
Watch more movies.
Yeah,
fantastic.
While we were, I think it was while we were like in the Jeep going to Heroes. You did several like rough drawings of Blind Tiger and a bunch of things. I still have those, I think.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Like
I don't remember that.
I got archives.
Nice.
I remember I had drawn at least the first panel.
These were just like literally you just doodling characters on scrap paper. While I was hitting as many bumps as possible.
Nice.
Oh no, that one's messed up. You have to leave that in my corner now.
and then complaining about how that eye just wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. The eye that's completely blank.
So you got it. So you had that 8
so you know,
oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I know that you can see me. I don't know if your audience can see me. I'm walking around because I got this little goober.
Oh, hey,
Miles. Hi.
Following my every move and asking me to blow him bubbles.
That's totally cool. Hey, this show is called Mom and Pop Comics Talk.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm multitasking here.
No, it's all about balancing. Exactly. I mean, it's totally all about balancing making comics with being parents.
And it's kind of funny. We slipped this in at the time when James Black Mary was pregnant with Miles. We used her ultrasound of Miles as like in the background of like Yan and Blind Tiger's final fight scene.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I just photoshopped it into like real subtly. I don't know if it really reads as anything, but if you go back into the trade,
That's
I
awesome.
don't remember that. I don't know.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you definitely get to see like a lot of the comics I've like written up have happened in when major things are happening in my life.
Mm.
Yeah.
So like being pregnant with Miles, was I don't think it started off. I mean, obviously, like I wasn't looking to have a kid when I started this series.
Really?
It just happened to be that
you had to put the research in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But then on volume 2, like having the kid, like we had Miles, I think, by the time we had pushed volume 1 out.
Mm.
So when I started working on volume 2, like I don't know, there's a lot thrown in there of like having Miles around and kind of like taking actual elements and moments and things that happen, dealing with an 8-month-old while you're on the run from ninja assassins and stuff.
Right, I was gonna say because that's the hook. That's sort of the hook of the second series.
Time,
I actually I lied. It's actually we use the ultrasound.
And I thought it was when she got punched.
It's in Red Death and Yan's fight.
Oh, okay, yeah,
right.
yeah. Because I couldn't find it.
There it is.
Oh, you got it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the page.
Yeah.
That's
just kind of
awesome.
use that.
Oh, I totally didn't even notice that. Yeah, in the background.
Wow.
It just looked like a cool effect.
Yeah, it just kind of looks very abstract and.
Yeah.
I love that you fit that in.
Nice.
Yeah, that was I think I forget when I came. I think because we were working with Joe at the time, and I kind of ran it by Joe, and he was like, "Only if Mary's cool with it."
Yeah.
And he was like, "You get her approval, go nuts."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and that was a cool thing to bring to Volume 2 because you do find out at the end of Volume 1 that she is pregnant and she's doing this tournament while she's pregnant. But then Volume 2, it's like, well, your favorite characters are back, and this time they have a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
And I think the best part of having Yoshi, the baby, in there is like all the fun, like gags I can do with like having a kid around.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially like in the 4th issue when well, I guess I don't want to spoil that yet, but there's some really fun stuff we do with Yoshi and Barbosa in the 4th issue.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. That's coming. You'll find out in like a month.
Cool.
Your listener, reader.
Yeah. And some of it was in the first issue too, right? It wasn't the peeing scene in the first one. And I love the cover of the CBU variant where Yoshi has the nunchucks at the bottom of the pile of ninjas.
When the trailer came out, I laughed so hard because we didn't know who did the trailer or whatever, but like when I saw it for the first time and they had the sound effect of the baby laughing, which is thing with the nunchucks, I lost my mind. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, we threw that in the post credit. Like after you see the Dead Legend 2 coming, and then it's like you hear the baby sound. So it's great. So yeah.
Here, I'll take out the sleeve so you can see better. But I gotta send you one of these.
Yeah, I want one of those because I didn't get send them straight from the printer. So
right,
I need those. So that was pretty neat to have Yoshi in there, and we won't spoil too much, but there's some good reason he got attached to Yoshi in this storyline. So it's nice to see, and it's a great group of characters to see all these people from the tournament, and first they're fighting in the volume 1. They have to battle each other, right, to get to the top, and even Yan's purpose is to get to that final battle, so that means she has to beat everybody. And now they're on the run, but they're a bit of a team. So there was some, I don't know. Did you look at this in more team building? How do the characters grow in this arc?
Yeah, for me, like I love doing ensemble casts. Like I love having like a core central group of characters that I can kind of weave the story around. And I don't know, for like everybody had kind of their strengths. Like Barbosa, everybody asked me who my favorite character is. And in the first issue, it was Jan. It was a toss up between Jan and Red Death. But in the second volume, like Barbosa stuck out to me like crazy. He's like the emotional core of the group, which I love because that provides more emotional conflict that you can play around with, but also it's just it adds the opportunity to throw in some comedy and some tender moments and all kinds of stuff. So like, yeah, I love finding those elements to toss in there that tie your characters closer and connection that hopefully the readers will identify with. And while we're doing all of that, we have like really dope fight scenes to toss into the mix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we like. Good character growth while also full of action. Don't let your readers get bored. Yeah.
And that was to go back to why we wanted to do this. I was like, that's kind of why. I just wanted to draw awesome fight scenes. I feel like I'd never really gotten a chance to let loose before this, and so that was really fun. And I think that we kind of made that, like, working with James on this is like the truest collaboration I think I've ever had for comics, because I'll bounce an idea off of him and then he'll make it work, and then he'll bounce a fight scene off me, and you've seen the scripts. It's just like these 3 pages, Gavin, do your thing. And we kind of established that relationship early on. I think as
when we were writing the pitch pages, I had like panel 1, blind tiger takes a knee to the face. Panel 2, he swings around and yada yada yada. And then when I got the fight scene back, none of that happened. Right? And I was like, but I didn't care. I didn't have like ego tied into the fight choreography. I was just trying to like fulfill my role as the writer, right? There were certain things I knew that had to happen during the fight scene. But as long as those things happen, then the story can progress, the way we want it to. But yeah, like when I found out that Gavin was all about doing the choreography of the fight, because A, he knows it better, and B, like, I think he's more imaginative because of his knowledge of the fight, right? That it just becomes like this thing that I don't have to worry about, and not in the sense like, I don't have to worry about that, but like I don't have to be concerned that it's going to be pulled off in a negative way or a bad way because he's got it.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one drawing it, so the less sort of mechanical you have to be to describe step 1 and then step 2.
Right, and it gives me a chance to just kind of play with storytelling beats when it's something that like isn't so set in stone. Then I can work with involving the environment around them too, and I think that just makes the storytelling that much better.
Right.
Because sometimes I'll just throw like a dumpster in one of the issues that we have. Like there's a dumpster, and that I drew as like a background thing, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll find a way to use that later, and then I do in that same issue, and like and it actually ends up adding to the story too, and it adds a nice little comedy beat too. Without spoiling, like it's hard to talk around this stuff. Like I'd love to tell you the gag there, but
all about the dumpster. Well, well, I know if there's any file cabinets in the story, you'll draw those impeccably well. I've heard that. I've heard that story about.
Damn it. That's a volume 3 thing. You're just gonna give me a room that's just full of volumes of filing cabinets. And I expect heavy notes on that page.
Yeah. For those watching that don't know, I'll just show the story really quick, because that was a Neil Adams portfolio review, right?
Yeah.
And you had a file cabinet in the background that you maybe just didn't put that much time into because it was just a file cabinet in the background, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was like, do you not go to a school that has filing cabinets or something to that effect, right?
Yeah.
Like, how could you not be able to find out what a file cabinet looks like?
Yeah, and like he's like, you got a phone in your pocket? Have you never, can you not take pictures with that thing? And he's like, yeah, and then he proceeded, like, it was like 2 minutes straight of him just going, it's the biggest panel on the page, over and over again, and then he cursed me out and said, don't show me anything for 6 months. which I think was a good review from him, because he didn't absolutely say no. Or
he's notorious for the tough reviews. I mean, I think some artists sort of just view themselves as the one who's going to give the tough reviews, or somebody's going to have that role. Yeah,
I've heard that he now offers people $20 to not get the review.
To not get any review?
Yeah, he's like, I'll give you $20 right now if you just take your portfolio, turn around, and go away. Which is kind of amazing. So, if you ever need an extra $20 at a show,
right? Yeah,
you want to
here's somebody to go away.
Maddie would so do that.
Oh my goodness! You'd be like, no, you could have gotten a review from Neil Adams. And she'd be like, $20.
Gotcha.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Oh. All right. So sorry we got off topic a little, but that's okay. I mean, whatever we want to discuss about here. So
no, I love what you guys were saying about collaboration, though, actually, because it's a classic collaboration in comics between artist and writer, but I think that you can have other types of collaborations too. I really identified with what you were saying, James, about learning where to trust your partner, and him learning where to trust you. I feel like Tyler and I write that way, and over the years, we've been doing this 16 years now. I'm the dialogue person, and he's the sort of like overarching plot and like layout and beats person. And that's how it works, and that's how we do. So
finding the strengths and weaknesses. Like I got lots of weaknesses, I'm sure, but like I feel that we're distributing our strengths really well on this title specifically. And not only that, but like it's a huge passion project. Right? Like this is the story that I'm most excited to tell. So I can't wait to see. Like already I've heard really great reactions to it. I can't wait for the more issues to come out so that I can do more of those.
It's funny. It's like I love the reactions that we've gotten for the first issue, but I also feel like, oh, you don't even know yet. Yeah. Like when we've been sitting with this. This was our quarantine. Like that's how long we've been with this.
Yeah. No, you guys really stepped it up on this one. Like I really enjoyed the first one, and first one was mostly the tournament, but this one opens it up more. As we mentioned, the characters interact with each other a little bit more. You have a lot more of that dynamics, and Gavin, I think your artwork, and the coloring and the stuff all really made a jump too. So it was a pleasure to see this come together.
I think that's, I keep wanting to try to. I think me being, getting to do a passion project, which tends to be different from work for hire stuff. Like I get to experiment more, and I get to learn kind of on the job more. And with something like this, I get to figure out how I want to draw. And I think there's like such huge growth. Like, I mean, I don't really think there was that much time between the end of volume 1 and the beginning of volume 2. I think maybe 6 months, something like that. Yeah, like we took a little break between finishing issue 5. I had some projects I had to do before I get into issue 2. We started in March like sort of right at the beginning of quarantine.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think my plan was just to try to elevate myself and my art. And you know, I'm not traditionally a colorist, but with the help of our amazing color assistant Elena Deneno, you know, I was able to kind of become one.
Yeah. No, it looked good. And how did it work working with? Oh, sorry, was her name Melena? And
Melena,
yeah.
Yeah. So she's great. I brought her on as a flatter.
Yeah.
And she's like, I felt like, you know, I asked, you know, to get her credited because she also did volume 1. And I wanted to get her credited because she's so much more than that. Like she puts in like so much effort with the separations and like whenever she turns in a file to me, it's like 10, 12 layers. It's line art layer. She's got each character is its own layer, background elements, blood, sound effects. I hand let her all the sound effects. She's like, she takes care of all that, all the separation. It's and everything's flatted literally. So sometimes, like when I'm doing background characters, like, you know, and she'll go in and she'll do every background character great, and like, so sometimes it's to the point where it's like, oh, I don't really have to do anything to these background characters. Like I might put like a small filter on them to push them back, but then it's like, well, she did, you know, she colored the pants and she colored the shirt technically. Yeah. So you know, it's more of a color assistant more than anything.
Right.
Yeah. When the pandemic started, hey buddy, I decided that I was going to try to do some flatting, and I had a friend of mine kind of run me through like the basics of it. And I started out, and I was like, oh well, I've got access to the Dead Legends colors. I'll just go in and look at those and maybe get an idea of like what it is I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
And I pulled up the flats, and I was just like, nope, I can't do that. That's so far beyond anything that I'm able to do, because they weren't just like flatted, you know, panels. Yeah. They were textured. They were beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, there are different ways to do it, right? I mean, the real simple ways, you just do the separations and make them whatever purple, yellow, green that you want to do, and then there's actually like laying in what could very well be the colors. And yeah, it sounds like Melena was doing more of that. So.
Yeah, and she's great. She also colored a lot of Floppy Cop and Source Point Press, and she does some other stuff too. And her helping me out on this was a big, huge lifesaver, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's a lot to do. Pencil, ink, and color.
Oh yeah. And the way that she gives it to me, like it's so well done that I think I was turning issues around when I got to the color stage in about like a week and a half tops.
Yeah.
It was just, she made it easy to breeze through.
Yeah, well, that's perfect. Yeah, you don't want to get hung up too much on that, so that's great. Wow, cool. Well, yeah, like we were saying, it came together really well. I think people are going to be excited for it. It was a little bit of a wait to come out because of the way we publish it, but now we're ready. Every other week we'll get an issue out there, and then we have the book coming out in October.
Yes.
We'll have to see what the world's like in October. You guys still think you're going to do New York Comic Con for that, or I mean, no pressure from us.
I am.
Yeah.
Because I'll also be out there. I think the week before our trade comes out for Volume 2, my first issue of Star Trek comes out.
Okay.
So
awesome.
I'll be out there for both releases. You know, which would be fun. Probably not going to stick around to do a signing in New York this time, but I'll at least be there to help promote Volume 2, because we didn't get New York Comic Con where we had issue 1 of Dead Legends at New York Comic Con, but we didn't have Volume 1 completed there. So I want to be out there for really all 3 of those books.
Yeah, that's a good combination. Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, this was before the pandemic, we did Royal Collectibles signing together.
In Queens.
in Queens. Yeah, that worked out pretty well. That had a good. It was just people walking in.
Right.
Yeah, it took a little while to
That was
warm up the crowd, but then all of a sudden, it's like the crowd draws the crowd. It's like, oh, people want to come check us out. We're picking up. We just had the comics, the Mezzo one and the Dead Legends one. Yeah. Miss those days.
Yep.
Of being able to go into the comic shop.
I was really bummed out that, I mean, obviously everybody was bummed out, but like we didn't get a chance to like really tour around with the trade. So that was kind of like a huge bummer on top of a huge bummer, right?
Right. Because we had, we're both guys that were in bands, so we have this tour mindset in general. Anyway, we were gonna plan to just go place to place, and we may still do something like that. If we can, tentatively.
Yeah, I mean that's mostly what it squashed was the touring and the giving the signing tour and doing that promotion there, right? We were able to squeeze the books out, even if they're delayed a little or this and that. But yeah, just having everything shut down and not being able to do tours is really kind of I don't know, just made that year a little bit more difficult.
But it's cool. I just made a recent move to Louisville, and I've like just been talking with all the shops that are in the area around me, and they're getting the books. We're trying to set up some little things that will be somewhat socially distanced because Kentucky is still one of those spots, but yeah, it's. I'm trying. I feel like I just have to get out there and talk to people about the book.
Yeah.
Because we put in so much effort and it looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as publishers, we've done our best to pivot as much as possible and to like find alternative ways to get it out there. We've amped up our social media. We're still doing all the book trailers, trying to do as much virtually as possible to support our creators.
Yeah. And not only that, but I mean, like I sing your guys' praises all the time, especially, coming out of a scary time back in March when we had just, you kind of gave us the green light to go ahead with volume 2. And then like about I think I had to finish something up, and that was in February. I think he gave us the green light. And then I was ready to start in March, I think was the gist of it. And then that's around the time everyone started getting the dreaded pencils down.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I remember getting in touch with you guys and just being like, are we gonna get that? Are we cool? Can we keep going? And you're like, you keep going.
Yeah, I mean, we were really adamant about not doing pencils down.
Yeah.
Like we were tightening the belt in other ways, but not pencils down. We were still going to keep making the books.
Yeah. And we were grateful for you for that. That was
thank you.
Huge. Yeah.
And that's one of the helpful things of having these long lead times, as difficult as it can be when you're making stuff and it won't be out for another year. When you get hit with something like that with a pandemic, it's like, we don't know where we'll be in a year, but just keep on working and we'll figure this out, when we get there. So, and here we are more than a year later and still trying to make things work for the best in this crazy world.
Yeah, the industry is tough.
Yeah.
Made it to the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, I think we're just sort of, unfortunately, this is the new reality, but we're kind of just reaching a point where it's like, okay, there's a new virus that's endemic, and please get your vaccinations and like the flu.
We just have to learn more and more how to manage it, basically, and work with it.
Yeah. So, and then Gavin, you did a signing yesterday, right?
Yeah, so Comic Book University here in Indianapolis, it's on the south side of Indianapolis. They got their own variant cover, which I showed before. I'll show it again.
Yeah, let's see.
Within arm's reach. This cover, which I'll put a little bit more light on it. Hopefully not blind the viewer. Blind against spot. There we go.
Oh, that's good.
And yeah, Rob, who runs the shop, has been a huge supporter of ours for ever since Dead Legends. He's always had me in for signings when I was working on accelerators. Put out my heavy metal story. Like he's been huge for me, and without even really me asking, he just he wanted to do the variants. It was his idea for the first one and the second one. He said, should we do another variant again? And I was like, if you want. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And I came up with him for that. Came up with that cover for him, and he loves it. It did really well yesterday. I'm going to be back there this Saturday for Free Comic Book Day.
Oh, that's right.
So all the people,
I'm not missing that.
yeah, we'll miss you. But yeah, it went really well. He has a nice setup in his shop where it's like he has gaming rooms for because he sells a lot of like Magic cards and stuff like that. So he has Magic nights on Fridays. Mm-hmm. He's got a big base for that. So there's these big like giant rooms that are almost like fish tanks because there's glass walls in there. Oh. And so the way his store works is like people wrap around the store to get their comic books, and they make their way to the register, but they see us as they're in line, so they come out and they come back around and check out the artist there. And so I'll be able to shill some more Dead Legends that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. That's cool. That's I forgot Free Comic Book Day is coming up.
I know, right? Well, it's usually in May.
Yeah, it used to be in May, but they pushed it down, which, yeah.
So how have the comic book retailers been faring where you guys are at? Like, are people coming into the stores and shopping? Like, what's the deal?
A lot of the shops where I was at in Huntington were doing curbside pickup.
Yeah.
For the longest time. So they got their inventory online and invited people to go and shop basically online.
Yeah.
And they had the option to come by and pick it up and have somebody run it out to them. And then, yeah, when things kind of opened up a little bit more, they were quick to open their doors to customers because, foot traffic is king in that particular business, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, I know Comic Book University was really good about I think all the shops around here, like every locally owned store, whether retail or food and service industry, had a lot of trouble. So everything in Indianapolis was just shut down for like a month and a half, and when we slowly started opening again, might have been longer because I know my wife Nikki wasn't working for a while. Might have been like 2 months, actually 3 months. But they slowly started to open. Hero House, which is a comic shop actually like a couple blocks away from me, where I usually do majority of my shopping at. Like they were pretty good. They were limiting people because it's a very small shop. It's smaller than Royal Collectibles where we were at. But they were pretty good about masks and stuff. I don't know if I think they were only allowing like 2 people in at a time for a while. Yeah. Then 4, then as more people got vaccinated, they opened it up more. Comic Book University I know was doing roadside pickup, which was awesome. Like they have great staff. So I think I went in there one time and I was like, I went to talk to Rob, or I think I went to pick something up actually. I called him, I was like, hey, I want to get this. And he was like, oh yeah, you can just come in. And I was like the first person that wasn't someone that worked there who had been in the shop since COVID happened.
Wow.
And but yeah, like they did a great job. And they survived, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hoping most of these shops just survive. It's been a tough year or so, but to make it through. I mean, so many of them showed such ingenuity, curbside pickup, dropping things off, things like that. So It just reminds us how much comic shops are the lifeblood of the industry. I mean, they can be sort of the scapegoat sometimes when things aren't going well, like the cliches of the old comic book store. But so many of the people who run them, it's they do it because it's their passion, to run the shops. I know the people I know here, and so those are the ones that figured it out. And oftentimes they worked with local creators, and they reached out more. It wasn't the big companies. They kind of disappeared or made different plans.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Like our friend Katie, who has a store in Portland. She's a single mom of 2. She'd close the store at the end of the day, load up her car, and drive around delivering comics to people.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
What's her store?
Books with pictures.
I've been there. It's a great store.
Yeah. Yeah, in Portland. Yeah, it's really good store.
The only time I went to Portland, I got taken there. So.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. So, okay, awesome.
Well, my local comic shops, I'm just really happy that they, with the signings that I was doing, they were letting me bring Miles and like helping to entertain him. It's integrating, a kid into that whole atmosphere is kind of hard if you don't have people willing to kind of pitch in and help out. So,
yeah, I feel like our favorite stores are really kid friendly and really like welcoming to all sorts of folks, and that's the kind of vibe that draws us to those stores.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you can just walk right in and find some stuff or start poking through some things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Not everything's behind glass or up on the wall behind them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I mean, that was awesome that you guys joined us. I know you have Miles and Gavin has a show at 8, so you have to say hi to Sue and the boys. I don't know who the boys are. I know Sue does Sue and the boys.
Myself, Sue, obviously.
Yeah.
Myself, Tyler Boss, Tom Riley, Adam Gorham, Craig Cermak, Ricardo Lopez Ortiz, and Josh Hickson. And then we have like special guests on here and there, like Sweeney Boo comes on a lot.
Oh, neat.
And Dave Stokes in England, and just whoever, we just kind of have them on, and we just draw, and like we don't really do. It's not really interview format. It's just like we're just kind of talking about whatever is going on in our own lives, and sometimes we'll just go off on rants.
That's funny. You'll have to tell Tyler Boss. I used to get emails. We had the same letterer. My mezzo letterer also lettered 4 kids walking to a bank. He used to send me the letters, and I was like, "Oh, thanks for the preview." I got a first look because I just would write Tyler and maybe just select the wrong one. Not that our names are that similar.
It's funny because we have like a Slack group where we all talk, and then I always have to clarify which Tyler I'm talking about, because like it's like, oh yeah, Tyler was talking to us about release date, and he's like, I was not. And
it's just unusual of a name that like if it was Mike, you just assume there's Mikes or something like that.
Well, sometimes we haven't had him on the show yet. I'm sure we will. But Gavin Guidry is another comic artist. Is like sometimes like watches us and he's in the comments. And then Sue will be like, well, Gavin said, I'm like, what are you talking about, Sue? And I'm so used to being the only Gavin in any area.
That's right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, say hi to them. And then James, say hi to your wife. And, great to see Miles and stuff. And thanks for coming on to our show. Talking about Dead Legends for everyone out there.
Everything.
Yeah, thanks for all you've done for us.
Of course.
Thank you for
without
being
a Wave Blue World, we wouldn't have had the platform to put out the story that we both love. So
yeah. Well, that's what we try to do. So everyone pick up your copy, and then the book comes out in October. And more on that and where people will be when we come there.
With a great cover by Adam Gorham, which I'll show up the art real quick. I have it right here.
That's
right. Yeah.
I bought the original.
Oh, so jealous.
Oh, damn.
That looks nice. Yeah.
Adam Gorham, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he's so good.
Just gonna have to cut that in half, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Send James half of it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, we're going to do our little sign out. You can hang out if you want to talk to us afterwards. We'll let you know we're no longer live, or if you have to go right ahead.
I gotta get going. But
Yeah.
All right.
again,
Awesome.
thank
Thanks
you
for
guys.
joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming to yet another awesome Mom and Pop Comics Talk. Join us for our next episode when we have it. And in the meantime,
No announcement yet.
no announcement yet.
But we
but-
will have something coming up soon.
That's
But,
right.
Yeah. But in the meantime.
In the meantime, don't forget to brush your teeth, wash your hands, and read